Amy Winehouse came out with her first debut album, Frank. Transiting Pluto was exactly conjunct her descendant. When we're looking at the nodes through the lens of Pluto, we're looking at dimensions of your unresolved karma that are most painful. Pluto has to do with everything that terrifies us, but also once we've worked through those issues, we come into great power. South node in the seventh house, traditionally called the house of marriage, but seventh house doesn't only have to do with marriage, it has to do with our close relationship. So this person was defined by a relationship. What does that mean? This person feels that they only have value or they only have a sense of identity when they are in a relationship. Now, Sagittarius is about exploration and expansion. On its really highest level, Sagittarius, the philosopher, is about connecting the dots and synthesizing life experience into meaning, becoming the wise elder, the philosopher. Sagittarius and Gemini, that axis of knowledge, is about packing 7 lifetimes into one. Sagittarius needs something to believe in. So what did she believe in? What is the belief system? It's about the relationship. There's a song of hers, it's called Some Unholy War. My man was fighting some unholy war. I would be behind him straight, shook up beside him. So I'm fighting for this thing of believing, a blind belief in the relationship. Got her into trouble. See the Sun and Mercury conjunction here squares Amy Winehouse's node. So when the Sun squares the South node, meaning it also squares the North node, and Jeffrey Wolf Green, who was the father of evolutionary astrology, talked about any planet squaring the nodes as a skipped step. So what did she skip? What was her skipped step? The Sun is the ego, the sort of way that we define who we are, that gives us a solid sense of identity. So what this means is that because she was South node in the seventh house defined and lost in the context of a relationship, she couldn't build her own ego. And the North node in the first house is, that's our map, that's our guide. First house is about the self, the idea that, this is my life to lead and I have to do it my way. The first house is about leadership and freedom. And I don't believe that you have to say bye-bye to the South node. And in this case, for instance, this is a person who doesn't need relationships. Not at all. It's all about integration, learning to be in a relationship, but also to have that breathing space. The idea is to find a partner that can respect that. There's an incident that really reflects this. Prince, who was an artist that she completely admired, wanted to collaborate with her to record a duet of them singing one of her songs. She went with her entourage, with her backup singers and all that. They met and they were starting the session. They were starting to rehearse. And then her boyfriend, I'm not sure if they were married by then or not, but he said that he was also planning to come. And from that moment, things went downhill. He apparently stole some money from Prince, and it just went sour. And Amy Winehouse, instead of saying to him, get that out of here, this is my career, I want to do this now, and please don't ruin this for me, stood by him, allowed him, this is my interpretation at least, allowed him to ruin something that she really wanted to do. You can talk about self-sabotage, and this is definitely not a blaming thing because she was so young. It's unbelievable how young she was when she got so famous and she was so talented. And when we're young, we tend to repeat our karma. We tend to repeat those unresolved issues. Why? Because that's the meaning of karma. It's our conditioning. That's the programming that we came into this life with. Usually there has to be some suffering, unfortunately, involved to sort of force us to start to deal with those things. Until then, we're going to replay the karma. Now, when Amy Winehouse met Blake Civil Fielder, the two fell madly in love. About 8 months after they first met, he left her. Most of Back to Black is about her heartbreak. Then they got back together again. And when they got married, Pluto was on her Neptune. Neptune is about a lot of things, of course, all that creativity, but Neptune can also be about, especially regarding the South node, the karma, about dissolvement, losing yourself, glorification, and projecting whatever you want onto another person to the point of self-loss, sort of this fogginess, okay? Not seeing reality for what it is. So her album Back to Black comes out, then they get back together again. Some people said that he wanted her back because she was now super rich and super famous and all that, but in any case, they were in love. And then he introduces her to hard drugs. The negative expression of Neptune and Pisces is escapism. And here we see her repeating the karma. Okay, so all of this shows in transiting Pluto on her Neptune. I want to take this talk to a different subject, but hugely important. When Amy Winehouse died, she was 27, so she joined that infamous 27 club. And your regular kind of explanations for that are that when you're so young and so sensitive and always in the public eye, you're gonna just the pressures of fame are gonna and the fact that these drugs are so easily accessible to you because you got the money. So that's why these artists died young. But why at the age of 27? And astrologically, if we look at through the astrological lens, which in my opinion always provides us with kind of a wider lens of understanding for everyone, when we were 27, we all go through the same astrological event, which is we experience our first lunar return, meaning that our moon, by progression, finishes its 27-year cycle and is back to the exact point that our moon was when we were born. And what the progressed lunar return is all about is time to check in with yourself and ask yourself, am I happy? Am I committed to my joy? Because the moon is your key to your happiness. The moon is about our most basic needs, what makes us feel comfortable, nourished, happy. And when you experience the progressed lunar return, there's this kind of, even if it's not conscious, there's this kind of pressing feeling that's asking you to really follow your heart, even if it's not realistic or not practical. I have a feeling that the lunar return came on, and she felt that she was miserable. And it's not only about, am I happy or not? It's about also the ability to dream of what will make me happy. So we're talking about January 2011, when the progressed moon hit her natal moon in Capricorn. And Amy Winehouse died in July of 2011, so 7 months after this event. Pluto by transit is now, when she died, on the cusp of her 8th house. So it's done traveling through her 7th house. And thanks for listening. Like this, please subscribe and drop a comment down below.